Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Gareth, and this video is all about a press kit for a game that I want to make called TinyDungeon. And we have on the screen here, we have a flow that we're going to follow, or at least try to follow. First, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about who I am, then we're going to move on to the elevator pitch of the game, then we're going to be talking about how it works, then we're going to be talking about what it's made on, and then finally we're going to wrap it up with what I need and how you guys can get in on the development early. So first up, who even am I? So, hi, my name is Gareth, if you couldn't tell already. I'm the owner and founder of Simple Studios, a game studio made by students, for students, and if you're not sure what that is, let me tell you about it real quick. Simple Studios is a game studio that makes small games anyone can work on, and I partner with high schools and colleges across Ontario to give students the experience they need. Basically, what I want to do is I want to create a game studio that accepts everyone regardless of their prior experience, because in my opinion, prior experience doesn't define potential, and when I was in their positions, I would have loved for someone to take a chance on me, so I want to give people that chance. But game studio aside, I have been writing games for over 16 years and have been designing tabletop games for over 12 years. I've got a buttload of experience, and I want to share it with people in the form of TinyDungeon. And speaking of, let's move into the elevator pitch. So TinyDungeon is a bite-sized RPG that makes your adventuring a guarantee. This bad boy is like Dungeons & Dragons, but a whole lot quicker and a whole lot cooler. It's designed to be played within 30 to 60 minutes instead of 2-hour sessions across multiple months, and getting into the game is as easy as pressing a button instead of reading for over 3 hours. Boom. And speaking of reading for 3 hours, let's dig into how this game actually works. So we have a couple things to break down here, and the first and most important thing is actually getting into the game. So as I said in the elevator pitch, in Dungeons & Dragons, our closest competitor, getting into the game is very tough, especially if you're new, and it can take a few hours to even start the game, let alone actually finish a campaign. And so what TinyDungeon does is it really reduces the barrier of entry to just pressing a button. And when you press this random button down here, I don't know if you can see that, but down here we've got this random button, and when you press that button, boom, you get your random stats, your random attributes, your random proficiency bonuses, your items, buffs, spells, and everything you need to have a kick-ass character. And this is pretty similar to Dungeons & Dragons, I won't lie. I think the game is great, it just needs a few adjustments. And so again, everything here is random, and we'll just show you another example here. Boom, there it is. And the reason why it's so random is because A, we want to make sure that no game feels the same as the last time you played it, and B, there's a lot of crazy combinations within these tabletop RPG games, and I feel like a lot of people don't really experiment enough as they should, and so with this game we want to basically push you into the experimentation phase because, yeah, you're not going to have a perfect character. In fact, they're going to be bad at a lot of things, but it's not about what you're bad at, it's about what you're good at and how you can use that to help your party. And I'm just going to show you another little thing here is the pop-ups. So, obviously, none of you can tell what any of this means, and if you are a new player, you're going to have to find out. So, essentially what's going to happen for the digital version is you're going to be able to touch stuff, boom, like that, and you're going to get a pop-up, and it's going to tell you about what it is. And let's say, oh, you don't know what the symbol means? Boom, you can tap on that too, and it's health. It's how much damage you can take. And that's really it for the character stuff, and we're going to move into the gameplay next, because that's the bulk of what this game actually is. So, if you've played Dungeons & Dragons before, you know exactly how this game works, but if you haven't, don't worry, because I'm going to fill you in. Essentially, what this game is it puts you inside of a magical world, and as a player, it's your job to navigate the world in your own way with your party. So, let's say that we are in a town, and there's a mine with a boulder on the entrance, there's a guard that's blocking our way, and there's a locked door. If we have to move past this village, there's 3 different ways we can do it, and as a party, it's our job to figure out which way is the best. So maybe my character has magic. Maybe I can say, oh, I'm going to move this rock with my mind powers, and we're going to go through the mine. Maybe another person says, no, I'm going to go intimidate the guard, and he'll let us through. Maybe another person says, no, we can sneak through by unlocking the door. It's all about how you and your party want to play the game and navigate through the world. It's all about your imagination, and from the person who's running the game, the way this will work is you will get a description of the room, you're going to tell the players what's in the room, and then there's going to be little things like boulder in front of a mine entrance, secret gem hidden in a stone near the mine, and when a player goes near the mine, you can say, oh, you can either move or you can look around, it's up to you. And then the player looks around, maybe they move the boulder, whatever, and you use the instructions on the piece of paper or on the screen to tell them what happened. And then once the players actually advance enough, they will move into combat. And combat is, again, it's very similar to Dungeons & Dragons, but if you haven't played, no worries. So the way this works is when we all get into combat, we roll a d20, a 20-sided dice, and we check for instinct. And instinct is basically initiative, but with a cooler name. Essentially, you add your instinct bonus and roll a d20, and the higher number goes first. So you can see in this example, this guy goes first, this guy goes second, he goes third, fourth, fifth, and that's our turn order, and that happens until everybody dies or until combat is over. And then when it comes to actually attacking and finding a target on the board, the way this works is the battlefield is split up into tiles, and each tile is worth 5 feet each. So if you have a spell or a bow and arrow that can reach 10 feet in length, this means that these two tiles, these two green tiles in front, above, behind, or below you, you can target an enemy in that range. And when you actually find a target, then you actually go on to attack them. And there's a couple things to break down here. There is dodge and evasion. Dodge is for attacks, evasion is for spells. And the way this works is, if I'm trying to hit this guy with my sword, I need to roll his dodge or higher in order to actually hit him. So in this case, it's a 10. Or maybe I'm trying to cast a fireball on him instead. Then I would have to roll his evasion or higher in order to actually hit him. In this case, it's 8. But, that happens. Players roll for damage. They do whatever. But after they finish a battle, they progress in the story, and this segues into the actual campaigns themselves. So one of the main things that I want for Tiny Dungeon is replayability. I want players to be able to play the same campaign 100 different times and never have a run quite like the same. And that's also why the characters are so random as well, is because whenever you play through a game, even if you play through the same campaign, you're basically guaranteed to never get the same character you had before. So it really spices up the gameplay, and again, it forces you to experiment, because if you have really high strength in one run, you're probably not going to have high strength in another run, and you're going to have to look for different ways of beating the system or progressing in the story. And so the way this works is, the campaigns are more or less laid out, and there are different key points of interest, like a forest, Stonehenge, a rogue wizard hut, and a dragon cave, and the players move between these areas based on how they want to move around the map. And one of the main things with imagination is we don't tell you how to complete the goal. That's on you. You got to figure that out yourself. So in this example here, we have a dragon that's blowing up the castle, and you got to go get rid of the dragon. The king doesn't care how you do it, you just got to get rid of him. And so one of the ways you could do this is by killing the dragon the old-fashioned way. You go to the forest, you go to the Stonehenge, get the wizard, kill the dragon. Maybe you want to feed the dragon. You go to the blacksmith. He tells you about the witch. Witch tells you about the falconer. Falconer tells you about the sage. And then you go feed the dragon, tame it, whatever. Maybe you want to do a different thing. Go talk to the goblins. Go talk to the goblin king. Go to the cannon room. Steal a cannon. Shoot the dragon to death. It's all about how you and your party want to play the game. And like I said, there's multiple different ways to actually play each campaign, leading to higher replayability and leading to a higher chance that you want to stick around for the other campaigns. And moving on to the other campaigns, Anyway, segueing onto the different versions that are going to be available, there is the digital, half-digital, and physical. The half-digital version is probably going to be the first version of the game, because that's going to be the easiest, I think. And the way it works is essentially all the character-related stuff and all the enemy-related stuff. So this stuff right here, that's all going to be digital. So when you actually show up to your friend's house, or you meet up at the library to play the game, or you go to a board game cafe, you're going to have this layout on your phone or on your laptop or whatever you're playing on, and that's how you're going to track your character's stats, what they have, and how much health they have. And then you would roll dice and, do whatever you need to do in person with pieces of paper or figurines. And then the digital version, everything's digital. Basically, it's this stuff here, but it's a little more advanced. It will come with a dice roller. You can tap on things to figure out what they mean. There's going to be more buttons like add condition to, stun yourself or to poison yourself, and automatic calculations will happen. So if you're poisoned, it deals damage to you. If you lose a spell, it temporarily grays out the spell on the inventory. Bunch of things like that make the game a little bit easier to manage. And then for the physical version, it's basically just what we've seen before, but in paper form. That's it. It's going to take the longest to actually create, because that's a lot of paper and that's a lot of money that I don't have right now. But anyway, we're going to wrap this video up with what I need and how you guys can get in on the development early. So even though I have 12 plus years of experience designing tabletop games, that is designing the mechanics of the games, not so much the world the mechanics are based in. So if you're someone who likes to write stories, or are someone who wants to experiment with writing stories, then happily shoot me an email at gareth_horn@outlook.com. Yeah, if this is something that you're interested in, like if you're a tabletop player or have played Dungeons & Dragons before, or like the idea of Dungeons & Dragons but don't necessarily like how it's played, this is going to be for you. And this game is for the casual audience that has been kind of shoved aside by the hardcore role-playing, dice-hoarding Dungeons & Dragons community. Not to shame them, because I'm one myself, but I'm taking a different path. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but that's going to be it for this video. If this is something you enjoyed, again, please don't hesitate to reach out. I swear I'll try to email you back within 48 hours, and if I don't, then I'll owe you a pop or something. But yeah, see ya.